Ladies and gentlemen, the following podcast is set for one episode. Your host from Columbus, Ohio, is Michael Kirk. Welcome to the Outlaw Mudcast. Hello and welcome to the Outlaw Mudcast, your digital audio dirt sheet for all things Supershow. Let's start this week off talking about the upcoming Kickstarter for the SRG Universe comic book. They've given us a little bit more information about the Kickstarter, specifically the tiers. We know that the first tier will include issue number 1 and the Kickstarter exclusive Rock Newman competitor set. The first issue of the comic book is called The Lead. We know the second tier of the Kickstarter will include issue 1, the Rock Newman competitor set, issue 2, which is called The Grand Battle, and another competitor set to be determined. That could be one of the out-of-print trio or tornado tag cards like El Super Sons, Right Hand Men, Team Valiant, or Newman's Henchmen. We don't know. It could be something else. It's possible I may pitch something. We'll see. There's going to be a tier where you can be drawn in to the comic book. They have set up certain panels where they have the ability to draw people in. So if you bid on this tier, win this tier, you can be drawn into one of these two issues. I believe they didn't say which one. Now, if you bid on this tier, if you pledge this tier, is what I should say. If you pledge this tier, if you pledge you're going to buy in for this tier, then you need to get your art, everything they need to draw you in ASAP, because there will be a hard deadline for this, because they are not going to delay releasing the comic books because you did not get your submission in. They're going to come out, so you will need to get that in ASAP. Faction Wars news. We'll go into that next. Last week, on Talk of the Universe, the GM gave Job Squad the ability to call out their opponent of the remaining 3 teams, the Higher Class, the Line, and all the Dimes. Nobody attempted to tamper with the Job Squad's pick, and the Job Squad chose to face the Line. This means the Phase 4 matchups will be Job Squad versus the Line, and the Higher Class versus all the Dimes, which is the team out of the Rust Belt area. There's been no update on the multi-man match for a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship, except that the event has been posted. We'll talk about that event later, but there will be an event coming up on Thursday, February 25th. The winner will fill spot number 6. The other 5 spots, as of right now, feature Sean Loeb, Matt Nealon, Bob Dunn, The Big Guy, and Hold the Line Harry. There have been a couple of updates on the Claim the Throne Underworld Championship shot match. To recap where we are right now at the Underworld Championship, Peppy Pepper is the current Underworld Champion. Kirk Polka and Everett Stevens will have a match sometime between now and the date of the next championship defense, which I will give you right now. It's March 20th. That's a tentative date. It may be March 20th exactly. It may just be that weekend, because there's an announcement coming up for that weekend. But the Underworld Championship will be defended on or around March 20th. So the match between Everett and Kirk Polka must take place prior to that. The winner will challenge Peppy Pepper for the Underworld Championship. Once that match has been determined, whoever emerges from that match as the Underworld Champion will face off the winner of a Claim the Throne match. So far, coming into this week, 3 of those spots have been determined. Cherry Von Danish, Johnny Eldorado, and Chad Gropak were in the match. 1 spot was left to be determined by the boss as a result of the boss winning a match between him and Kirk Polka at the end of the February 10th episode of Talk of the Universe. The boss did announce his pick for that spot. He has chosen Jeremy Steigerwald. So now Johnny Eldorado, Cherry Von Danish, Chad Gropak, and Jeremy Steigerwald will be 4 of the people in the Claim the Throne. The 5th spot in the Claim the Throne match is the winner of the last Proving Ground, the Proving Ground from February 15th. And let's talk about that match right now. Normally, I like to talk about the matches at the end of the sort of main news portion, but because this ties in to championship news, I'll talk about it now. Monday Night Proving Ground, all matches were triad matches. The finals match saw Ken Fouché as the Grim Librarian versus Tim Riley as Haley Stevens versus Eddie Fury as Eddie Fury. The winner and 5th entrant in the Claim the Throne match for a shot at the Underworld Championship is Eddie Fury. Eddie Fury, continuing to do well in high-profile matches, has played his way into the Underworld Championship picture. Congratulations to him on that win. Other championship news? Let's go to the Hardcore Championship. Mark Sylvia is still the champion. Eddie Fury, as a result of Hardcore Championship victories going back to the days when it was the 24/7 Hardcore Championship, has a shot at the Underworld Championship as well. He was challenged by the Nightmare King and accepted that challenge. If the Nightmare King defeats Eddie Fury, he gets Eddie Fury's shot at the Hardcore belt. If Eddie Fury wins, he gets to pick the stipulation when he faces Mark Sylvia for the championship. Any Hardcore stipulation except TLC. That match, from last I saw, was supposed to take place as I record this on February 21st. I have not seen any news about it at this point. That may have been delayed. If that news comes in while I'm recording, I'll add it to the show. Otherwise, we will talk about that next week. That's really it as far as championship news goes. Nothing else has been updated. We still have Mallory will take on the Mad Custodian. At some point, he's the next challenger for the Trios Championship. Warren Skinner is still going to be playing a mystery opponent for the Tornado Tag Championship. Will Shear will at some point face McPeak Inc. for the LFF Tag Team Championships. But there have been no updates on that front, except, and this ties into something I mentioned earlier, I've been talking about Sunshine SmackDown 2. Sunshine SmackDown 2, supposed to have happened in February, got pushed to March due to scheduling conflicts. That is happening March 20th, which is the same day I gave for that Underworld Championship match between Peppy Pepper and the winner of Everett Stevens versus Kirk Polka. So that appears to be the next big championship weekend. So we may see all of these matches happening on or around March 20th. We could see matches happening Friday, Thursday perhaps, Sunday, but everything looks like it's going down the weekend of March 20th, revolving around a virtual Sunshine SmackDown 2. The original was in person. Unfortunately, with the current situation in many states, many of these events have to be virtual instead of in person. Here's the information I can give you so far about Sunshine SmackDown 2. The main tournament, Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern, will be a 3-player team points chase where the winner will be able to create a card. There will be more details soon. Sign-ups will happen soon. No date or details given. Apparently, They ran an event similar to this last year during WrestleMania or around WrestleMania. This is a continuation or another event in that vein. Again, I don't have any more information to give you, but Sunshine SmackDown 2, March 20th. And since we're talking about future events, let's talk about the GM Calais Thursday event. February 25th, 7:30 p.m. start time, GM Calais is hosting the Thursday night Chance at the Dance. This is the event for the final spot in the 6-man match to determine a contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. It's a 32-player event. It's already sold out. So unless people drop, you cannot get in at this point. It is already sold out. It's going to have a group stage, 8 groups, 4 players per group, and then they will cut to a top 16. Here are the following stipulations in the top 16. Top 16 round will be a Ring of Fire. The quarterfinal round will be Liger's Den. The semifinal round will be Steel Chain. And the finals will be a stipulation of the general manager's choosing before the start of the match. Again, if you win, you will be in the number 1 contender match, whatever form that takes, whether it's hardcore tournament style, a birdcage style, or something completely different, something completely unknown. You will have to submit your competitor by 5 p.m. Eastern on the 24th, the day before. There is no diversity. Competitor selections are made on a first-come, first-serve, so if you pick somebody, send it in by emailing the general manager, John Calais, at srguniverse.com. If somebody else has already picked it, you will have to choose again. If you're the first one to submit that, that is locked in. But yes, that event is currently sold out, so if you did not get in, unless somebody drops, you are stuck. But the event has been set Thursday night, Chance at the Dance, to determine that last spot for a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. The last bit of news before I get into past tournaments is the CCC news. Last week, or should I say, when I was recording last week's show, the first match in the second round of the CCC had concluded. Candyman and Harvey Luster versus El Campeón de las Familia de las Llamas and the Memes Dealer. I thought, last I looked going in, Candyman and Harvey Luster were in the lead. It turns out I was wrong. The Memes Dealer and El Campeón de las Familia de las Llamas move on. They make round 3. Congratulations to them. This week, a match which concluded yesterday saw Lucky Cat Nico and my competitor, JAC, take on the Dweeb and Pride. I don't know who won that match. When I last spoke to Patrick Mulligan, who runs the CCC, he had not counted the votes. The winner will be announced Wednesday night on Talk of the Universe. So unfortunately, I can't tell you right now if my team won or if the Dweeb and Pride won. It was a very hard-fought match. I want to thank everyone that voted for my team. I want to thank everyone for participating. I want to say good game to our opponents. I want to thank my partner, Nico. And let me give my thoughts on the CCC tag team match. This is not a very fun type of competition. Match number 2 is a lot of work. It's a lot of coordination, trying to line up people to tag with you. It's a lot of coordination trying to find someone for them to tag. It very much relies on people being available. And I can tell you that tagging somebody and trying to get them to tag somebody else, because this is a timed competition, you only have 48 hours to get this done. delays between the last person tagging and the next person being tagged are just stressful as all get out, because you are trying to get those tags moved on as quickly as possible because time is a factor. So I want to say a couple things to people in voting. Number one, if possible, and I know people have their lives to live, and I understand you're trying to work around and help us. If possible, when you're agreeing to be tagged, if you could be around for a while, that would be great, because I can tell you when somebody's tagged and then you get the next person to be tagged and you're trying to reach out to the person who has the tag currently to get them to tag the next person, you feel every second of waiting for them to get back in contact with you to make that tag to pass it on. So it would be a great help if you're participating in this as someone being tagged and tagging someone else to be, easy to communicate with. The second thing I want to bring up is this. In these tag competitions, you are allowed to double tag. And what I mean by that is this. You are allowed to tag with both teams. If John Smith, for example, is participating, Nico can tag John Smith. John Smith can tag Jack Wilson for our team. For the other team, Pride can tag John Smith, and John Smith can tag Jack Wilson for his team. So you can have the same person tagging with both teams and counting as a vote for both teams. I am going to, having gone through this, urge people going forward, do not double tag. Do not tag with both teams. Let me tell you why I feel that way. There are a few different reasons. Number one, this competition in round 2 is about having the highest number of unique tags. In other words, if you tag with both teams, your vote is worth the same as if you did not tag at all. If at the end of the day, if you tag with both teams, you really didn't do either team a favor. Second, if you tag with one team, that team is counting on your unique vote. They are relying on that unique vote to help them win. If you then go and tag with the other team, that is really disappointing to the team you tagged with first. I can tell you from personal experience, and I didn't go look at the Dweeb and Pride's tag chain. Sometimes I saw it when I flipped over, but I wasn't scouring it. I can tell you if I saw somebody that had tagged with us and I was counting on that vote helping us, then going to tag with the other team, it was a heartbreak. Because being in this contest, you are putting in so much effort to try to find people that are willing to tag with you and work with them to tag you and tag another person, and to go through all that stress and then to have the vote, the tag, ultimately not count at all because the person that you tagged on your team also tagged with the other team is demoralizing. So I'm going to recommend, if you do not want to choose between both teams, if you don't want to tag with one team and not essentially tag with the other, if you can't tag Team A and then refuse to tag Team B, don't tag with either team. Just say you're abstaining. Because I can tell you the team you tag with first is counting on that vote. And so if you tag with the first team and then tag with the second, you're not helping both teams out. You're hurting the team you tagged with first. Again, you're allowed to do what you want. You can tag both teams. That's fine. It's 100% your right to tag both teams. But I'm telling you from a compassion standpoint, If you're trying to be nice, it would be nicer if you just said, I don't want to participate, don't tag me at all, because I can't choose between the teams. If you said that, I can tell you that when people told me that they didn't want to tag with me, I said great, and I moved on. And it was much easier for me to deal with that. That took a lot less work than basically getting them to tag with me only to see them tag the other team later. The other thing I'm going to bring up about tagging both teams is this. Patrick Mulligan hates the second round, the tag round, in these CCCs. Why? Because they are the most difficult to count. If you are tagging with both teams, not only does your vote ultimately not count, because it's about total unique votes, voting for both teams is the same as not voting at all, the same as not voting for either team. Not only does your vote not count, but you are creating more work for Pat Mulligan, making Pat Mulligan's life more difficult because he has to count more tags, and he's counting tags that don't count. You're making him count tags that have no effect on the final result. So for all those reasons, I'm going to urge people going forward, if you participate in the tag rounds, choose a team. Pick the team you want to see go forward and say, that's the team I'm going to tag with, and that's it. Don't tag with both teams. And if you can't say yes to one team and no to the other, don't tag with anybody. Just don't do it. You may think that it's not being nice to not tag with both. It's probably the most compassionate thing you can do. It's the best thing for them, because as a person who's done this, if I know that the people tagging are tagging with just me and not my opponents, I can count on those votes. If I know that the person tagging with me is going to tag with the other person, then I'm putting in work to get a vote that ultimately will make no difference in the end result of the match. Those are my thoughts on match number 2. Don't know who's going to win. I would love it if JAC could go on to round 3. But if he doesn't go on, if I once again lose in round 2 of the CCC, if I once again lose another CCC match, I don't know what that means going forward. There's a lot of thinking I have to do about what my CCC record means, basically for, where I belong in the game. So I'll be doing a lot of thinking once the results are announced Wednesday night. I don't know who's going to come out on top. If I had to sort of make a pick, I think the Dweeb Pride are going on to round 3, but I hope it's Lucky Cat Nico and I. But we'll wait and see Wednesday night. And that is the 2020 CCC news. That was match number 2 in round 2. And that's going to be it for the news for this week for Super Show. Let's talk about the events that happened this last week. Of course, Sunday I reported in part on the Rack of Love tournament. This was a tournament, Valentine's Day, where they asked people to donate to a charity that assists victims of child trafficking, Love 146. There was no entrance fee. In lieu of that, they asked for a donation. It was 32 players, 5 rounds, then cut to a top 16. The finals of this event saw Anthony Perry the Cannoli using Harrietta the Bearded Diva take on Chris Pate using Gia de los Muertos. The Cannoli was undefeated to the final match, but he was not able to go undefeated through the tournament. Chris Pate wins the Rack of Love tournament. Congratulations to Chris Pate. I gave you the results for Monday night's Proving Ground. Eddie Fury wins, and as a result, wins a spot in the Underworld Claim the Throne match for a shot at the Underworld Championship. Thursday night, we had the True Survivors Hardcore Birthday Tournament. This was a double elimination tournament, 16 players. The finals saw Tim Creaser using Mac Attack take on John Polverino using LED. Tim Creaser went into the finals match undefeated, so he had to lose twice to lose the tournament. First match was a TLC match. John Polverino wins that match, so it forces a final match, which is just a no disqualification match. And at crowd meter 4, Tim Creaser, using Mac Attack, is able to win. He wins the True Survivors tournament. Congratulations to him. Saturday, we have the Cursed by the Void tournament. Last week on Talk of the Universe, that's the Talk of the Universe from the 17th, the SRG boss opened a package from the Void and was cursed by the Void. This tournament revolved around that curse. The way this tournament worked was a $10 entrance fee on the tournament, 6 p.m. start time on Saturday. There was a group stage, boss righty beatdown style, where you had 4 entrance cards. One person at the beginning of the tournament was assigned to the Cursed by the Void card. If you had it, you had to reveal that instead of one of your normal 4 entrance cards. It read as follows. When the crowd meter is 1 or greater, once per match, you may reveal 3 finishes from your discard pile and randomly add one of them to your hand. All finishes without a competitor logo or skill requirement have blank text. If you win the match, you give the card to your opponent. So if you win the match, essentially you're breaking the curse, and you give the cursed card to your opponent. Once you received the Cursed by the Void card, therefore, you held that card until you won. If you lose holding that card, you are able to use that card in future events. Now, the winner of this tournament would receive an autographed spectacle card, autographed by New Japan Pro Wrestling wrestler Switchblade Jay White. Like I said before, this was a group stage match like most boss righty beatdown type matches. There was a cut to a top 16. The quarterfinals were all steel cage matches. The semifinals were tables matches. The finals were a main event match where Bob Dunn using White Lily faced off against Micah Swafford using Johnny Gargano. The winner, earning himself an autographed Jay White spectacle card, Micah Swafford. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to all of the winners from this past week. As far as future tournaments go, nothing is currently posted on SupershowTheGame.com. The Thursday night event that I talked about for that last spot in the Calais tournament for the number 1 contender shot at the World Heavyweight Championship, that of course is sold out. Outside of that, nothing is up. There is supposed to be a Proving Ground tournament Monday night where every match is a main event match. That currently is not up there. And outside of those two, I do not know what is going to happen next week tournament-wise as far as online tournaments are concerned. As always, there's Dojo Tuesday night. But outside of that, that's it. Something I forgot to mention that I'm going to bring up now. A couple things. First off, there was an LFF Tri-State match earlier this week. Brock Carson, the current champion, with Merlin Von Berlin, defended against Eric Goodhart, who is using the original Mr. Snap. And the winner and still champion, Brock Carson, Fotista, congratulations to him. And then, that's really all the news. There was a raffle for the Elimination Chamber matches that WWE is putting on as I record this. That information, as far as the winners, will come out at some point in the future. I really don't cover those usually, but I'll just bring it up now. But yeah, that is it for the news for this week. I'd like to thank everyone for listening to this podcast, and a good day.